Hello, everyone. I'm Reverend Nick Bullitt, the engagement catalyst here at OneSpirit, and I am really excited to be sitting here today with Mirabai Starr. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me to speak with you, Nick.
Yeah, so you have an upcoming workshop that is called Wild Mercy, Feminine Wisdom Across the Spiritual Tradition. And so in your workshop, the title for it, Wild Mercy, where does that name come from?
So that's my background is both scholarly and practice in drawing kind of the nectar like a bee from all of the world, the essence of all of the world's great spiritual traditions, particularly the mystical traditions and the teachings of the mystics. So that's my background, and it's starting to move toward really focusing on the feminine, on women mystics and feminine wisdom.
Mm.
So the name actually comes from the title of my latest book, Wild Mercy, Living the Fierce and Tender Wisdom of the Women Mystics. And so this book, Wild Mercy, was a way for me to really harvest the delicious fruits of feminine wisdom that I was discovering across the landscape of the world's religions and spiritual traditions. But it's actually much more of a challenge in a way than my previous interspiritual work has been, because the teachings of the women have been so buried in all the world's religions, and that's not a coincidence. They have been intentionally silenced, those voices. And so this was really kind of an spiritual archaeology project of excavating these jewels. So I'm talking about harvesting fruits and excavating jewels, and even that language, Nick, is like the lush language of the feminine. The feminine wisdom is sensual, it's grounded in the body, it's voluptuous in a way. It's not sloppy, but it is creative and fecund and unpredictable. And so the title, Wild Mercy, both for the book and for this workshop, this play shop, this spiritual retreat we're doing, encompasses in just one phrase, Wild Mercy, the essence to me of feminine wisdom and the transformational power of women's wisdom. And although this is a workshop open to people of all genders, and we encourage people of all genders, but if people are thirsty for those feminine wisdom teachings, as I know many of us are, they'll find both the more obvious feminine qualities of loving kindness, compassion, unconditional love, but also the more subversive and truly alive and transforming aspects of the feminine, the more Kali-like sort of unconditional love that cuts through illusion, fierce truth-telling, and unpredictable willingness to not follow the rules, but in fact to construct a lot of the kind of patriarchal structures that we've all inherited, people of all genders.
Right. Well, what first drew you to the divine feminine or feminine wisdom?
Well, I've always had a relationship with what I would call the Divine Mother. A lot of my spiritual background is in Hinduism, particularly the American translation of the ancient wisdom of the Vedic traditions. So my first teacher, and who continued to be my teacher until the day he died just a couple of weeks ago, was Ram Dass. So I went off, I left home at 15 and kind of followed Ram Dass around, ending up leaving New Mexico, my home, and moving to New York, which is actually where I was born, with Ram Dass, and then really continued to study and practice with him for all the decades after that. I'm 58, he just died. So Ram Dass had a deep devotion to the Divine Mother. And I think that strongly influenced me, which is really ironic that this American white dude, a Jew like me and my family, is the one who opened my heart and helped connect me in a very intimate way with the Divine Mother, first in the forms of the Hindu goddesses, particularly Kali and Durga. But
Mm.
then that helped me develop a taste for the sacred feminine across the religious landscape, which is another gift that Ram Dass bequeathed to me, I would say, is this openness to wisdom, the presence of the sacred in multiple spiritual traditions. And in all of them, there is some deep devotional relationship and intimacy with the divine feminine. It's
Mm.
the immanence. It's the great mystery poured into form, rendering all matter holy, sacred. And
Mm.
so the feminine is so much about reclaiming the sacredness of the body and of the earth and our relationship with our bodies and each other's bodies and the earth herself.
Mhm. That's powerful. Can you share a little bit about what your workshop is going to be like?
My workshops are very experiential. I do give talks. I give Dharma talks, is what I would call them, rather than lectures, where I kind of ground us in an orientation around particular feminine wisdom beings. I say that because they may be women mystics, but they may also, and they will also be what might be called goddesses. So I will be giving some talks, cultivating some kind of understanding of who these beings were and are. And we'll be doing deep dialogue and dyads and triads. We'll be doing writing exercises. I'll be giving provocative writing prompts. People will be doing quick free writes in response. We'll be sharing those together. That's one of the juiciest things I do with people. We'll be engaged in interspiritual chanting, a few different chants calling on the sacred feminine from different wisdom traditions. And we'll also be sitting in silence. We'll be doing some contemplative practices that draw us all together into the stillness. So
Mm.
this workshop is going to be really a combination of taking refuge and resting and refilling the cup of our souls, and also invigorating us to step up in service in this beautiful broken world.
Mm.